Hi everyone, my name's Daryl. Welcome to the Golden K9 Campers channel. So in today's video, we're going to talk about A-liners and why we chose the model that we did. As you may know, we decided a while ago to get an A-liner camper, but we've been going back and forth about which models to get. So we're going to talk about which models we were considering and why. So first of all, we were only considering, I guess you would consider the mid-size A-liner camper, the 12-foot box. Basically, it's the Scout, the standard Scout, the Ranger 12, and the Classic. We can't get the smallest model because it's our wife and our two dogs are relatively large. So really the smaller camper, the 10-foot box doesn't really work for us. And we don't have a large enough towing vehicle to really do anything more than the 12-foot box. The LXE model, I don't think we could consider that also, primarily because of weight, but I also just don't like the way it looks inside. It just looks real ugly and boxy where that shower toilet thing is. I did see something though on the A-liner Facebook page where they talked about some sort of surprise in September where the shower is going to be invisible. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see what A-liner comes up with in regards to that. So we were initially considering the Scout with the soft dormers. The reasons for that was the Scout was the lightest one, and the other reason why is because the Scout was quite a bit less expensive than the other models. Some of the benefits of the Scout, I already talked about it being lightweight. I talked about it being less expensive. There's less maintenance associated, you could say, with the Scout because it got a lot less stuff. So it doesn't have a water tank, doesn't have a water heater to take care of. It doesn't have propane tanks or lines. And so there's less amenities, and so there's really less things that can kind of go wrong with it. There's also, because the cabinet space isn't taken up with all these other items, you actually get a lot more storage space in the Scout than with the other two models. We were looking at a Ranger 12, and Nicole talked about how she really liked the idea of having a water tank and hot water available to her. And I was like, well, why didn't you consider that in the first place? And she was like, well, if it's there, I'm going to use it. So I was like, well, it seems like we really should be considering either a Ranger 12 or a Classic. And so that's why we decided to take the Scout off the list. And now also having propane available to us was kind of attractive. To be able to have a propane heater in some really cold weather would be a nice thing to have, as well as having propane always for cooking. And so that was another benefit of the Ranger 12 or the Classic. So there really aren't too many differences between the Ranger 12 and the Classic, but let me go through some of the features of the Ranger 12 and some of the additional features of the Classic. So with the Ranger 12, you get propane, so you get a gas heater, obviously. You also get a propane stove. You get a water tank and a water heater. You also get a refrigerator with a freezer. And so those are some of the benefits of the Ranger 12. Now, when we're looking at the Classic, you get some additional things in the Classic. So you get standard, the Command AC heat pump. Now you can add that with the Ranger 12, but it does come standard with the Classic. I think one of the big things that the Classic does offer over the Ranger 12 is it has more windows. And so if you are a fan of really having a lot more open space and to have the trailer feel a little bit more open, the Classic is a lot more open, and so you have 3 additional windows on the Classic. You also have a microwave, you have a 3-way refrigerator, freezer, as opposed to only the 2-way on the Ranger 12. And you also have hardwood cabinet doors. And so I think those are primarily the differences between the Ranger 12 and the Classic. Oh, the other thing is on the Classic, you do have a removable propane stove. And so you can take that propane stove, you can take it outside with you and use it outside because they have a propane hookup outside, and then you can also use it inside. So the deciding factor for us was twofold, but the big deciding factor was the extra doors the extra windows in the Classic. And the reason why that made such a difference to us is my wife really wants the hard dormers as opposed to the soft dormers. So she kind of saw the soft dormers as kind of being tent-like, and she also liked more of the security of the hard dormers. And why that makes a difference for us is in the Classic, you get a lot more windows than in the Ranger 12. And the soft dormers are really nice because it has that really nice open feel with all the windows. With the hard dormer, you get the one smaller window kind of at the end, but you don't have windows on the sides. And so losing that extra windows really made it important for us to probably choose the Classic as opposed to the Ranger 12. And the big reason for that would be our move to the hard dormers. The other benefit of the Classic was that removable stove. And so we don't anticipate cooking inside hardly ever. So it's nice to be able to take that stove and to put it outside and to hook it up to the propane for the camper. And then once you've removed that stove, then you get that nice flat tabletop. And so that is another benefit. You get a little more space. So unless things change drastically for us, we're going to go with the Classic with the hard dormers. We also want the couch option as opposed to the permanent bed option. I actually wouldn't mind the permanent bed because I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to have to make the bed all the time at night. But my wife really prefers the sofa, and it gives more room for the dogs when we're in the camper during the days. And we also see ourselves at night sometimes having movie night where we have a projector, and so we could put the screen up at the end of the dinette, or where the dinette is, and we could sit on the couch and kind of hang out and watch movies, and the kids can have a lot of space, or our dogs can have a lot of space. And so that's why we kind of chose the couch option. We might be pushing the towing limits of our RAV4 Prime a little bit. Most of the Classics with hard dormers that I've seen are kind of in the 2,000 pound dry weight range. Our RAV4 Prime has a towing capacity of 2,500 pounds. So we're going to have to travel light. We're also might have to do some things with the propane tank. So we might only bring one propane tank with us to save some weight. We also might relocate maybe the battery inside of the A-Liner trailer to save some weight on the tongue. But we'll just have to see how it turns out, or what the A-Liner real weight says that it is on the sticker, before we figure out exactly how it is that we're going to travel, and making sure that we stay safe as we travel. So I've been relentlessly looking for an A-Liner Classic with hard dormers every day. And so if you happen to have a lead on an A-Liner Classic, a used one, my wife kind of wants a 2019, 2020 or later, drop me a line, let me know. We'd like to get one hopefully this winter to have some time to get it all ready for camping next summer. So the other thing I've been doing is I'm really looking for an A-Liner to do an inspection on. Ideally, it would be one that we would be thinking about purchasing, but I haven't had a whole lot of luck. And so the first one I might find might be the one that we end up getting. But I would like to have a little preparation beforehand in inspecting an A-Liner, because I have my A-Liner inspection checklist all ready to go. I have my tools all ready to go. And so I really want to create a video for the folks out there looking for A-Liners that might need a little bit of help with what to look for when they're looking at their A-Liner. And so if there are any folks out there that are watching this that own an A-Liner that are relatively close to Las Vegas, so are within 4 or 5 hours of driving distance, and you'd be willing to loan me your A-Liner just for a couple of hours so I could come by with my camera in hand and my little inspection checklist and do an inspection of your A-Liner, basically just to help future A-Liner owners out there, and to help me to create this video to help other people, I'd really appreciate it. So if you're willing to help me out, please let me know, drop me a line. I'll probably also be sending a message out to the Facebook group, the A-Liner Camping Facebook group, and asking them if anybody could help me out. But for your time, I'll be bringing a 6-pack of your favorite beverage or whatever you want. So thank you for your service, and other future A-Liner owners would also thank you for your service. So as always, if you got any value from this video, please consider liking it, as well as subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you in a future video very soon.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every